So the Indiana Fever fans are furious with this signing. Absolutely furious with the fact the Fever have signed someone who appears to be a Caitlin Clark hater in Brianna Turner.
The Indiana Fever just shook up the entire fan base with a major move. They signed Brianna Turner. But in less than 24 hours, she somehow managed to turn that excitement into a full-blown disaster. That's right. Within a single day, Turner went from the team's latest star signing to public enemy number one.
Brianna Turner, Sky fans hate her. Like, there is no player the Sky fans hated more than Brie Turner, who came on a big contract, a genuinely big contract.
Here's where it gets wild. Turner didn't just ruffle a few feathers, she ignited a full-blown revolt. Fans are already demanding she be cut before she's even played a single game. What on earth did she do to cause such a storm? And how will this affect the Fever's season hopes? We've got the inside scoop, and believe me, you won't want to miss this.
So it looked like the Fever front office has made a huge mistake and screwed up Caitlin Clark for the 2025 season. They have created a hostile work.
Hard to believe, right? In less than 24 hours, Brianna Turner went from the Fever's exciting new signing to public enemy number one. Fans were hyped about landing a defensive juggernaut they thought would help propel the team up the ranks. But then, bam! Old tweets surface, and now everyone's asking, hold up, did Turner just throw shade at Caitlin Clark?
A lot of the tweets and stuff do not look good. Do not look good from Brie Turner.
So, what did Turner actually say? She took a dig at Iowa's celebration for being NCAA runner-up, the same team where Caitlin Clark had an epic season. Turner tweeted, Iowa will hold a celebration to honor the NCAA runner-up. All players and coaches expected this respectfully. I'm confused. Is this what a runner-up typically does? Oof. Not exactly the best way to win over your new fan base, right?
So, she tweeted this. Iowa will hold a celebration to honor the NCAA runners-up. All players and coaches expected. This is Iowa to hold a celebration. Respectfully, I'm confused. Is this what a runner-up typically does now? Haven't seen this before. But kudos to them for publicly honoring all they've accomplished this season. I'm confused. Is this what a runner-up does? It does if you're Iowa. I'm sorry, it does.
But hold up. It gets even better. When fans started calling her out, Turner didn't backpedal or apologize. Nope, she pretty much told them to take a hike. She tweeted, "Feel free to unfollow me or block me if that is bothersome to you." Yeah, not exactly a warm welcome to your new city, huh?
Let's be real. She tweeted about the whole, do you remember the whole, harassment by the journalist? Or say not by the journalist, by the paparazzi, the TMZ person who tried to ask Kennedy Carter a question. And obviously she went and made a way bigger deal about that than it should have been.
Curious how the fans reacted? Let's just say the internet lost it. Fans were absolutely freaking out online. One fan even said, the fact that her new team's fan base has been crashing out over this and harassing her for activism says it all. It's like Turner opened a can of worms, then grabbed a fishing pole and went to town.
When Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White and these people came out and basically said at the end of the season, and Kelsey Mitchell and all these people, she was really anti-Fever. I don't think she was necessarily anti-Caitlin Clark with what she said, but she was anti-Fever when everyone was saying, do not platform the trolls.
Here's where things get even juicier. Turner isn't backing down at all. She's holding her ground, and now people are left wondering, what's next? Will the Fever step in and try to smooth things over? Or are they going to let Turner keep tweeting her way into more chaos?
But at the same time, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt because some of these WNBA players have probably never had paparazzi around them in their entire lives. So they might think one person kind of getting in someone's face, ask them a question on the street in a public place is harassment. And do I think on a personal level, the people doing paparazzi stuff is right and good? No, but there's a line. If we're calling that harassment, it's everything harassment.
One commentator couldn't help but point out that Turner didn't even last 24 hours before clashing with fans on Twitter. That's got to be some kind of record, right? It's like she speed ran the How to Alienate Your New Fan Base challenge.
She came out on Twitter saying we needed to platform the trolls, and when somebody responded that we need to platform the trolls and call it out, and it's the responsibility of everyone to call out all this, and it's like someone responded was like, that's the worst thing you do. These aren't people. These are literally just internet trolls that are doing it for attention. And then she basically doubled down, was like, no, you're wrong. You need to platform the trolls.
You might be thinking, is this really just about a few tweets? Can't everyone just move on? But here's the thing. In today's sports world, social media is everything. It's how players bond with fans, how teams build their brand, and sometimes how careers go off the rails before they even get going.
It was purely a college wants to celebrate greatest team in the history of the college. And she comes out and goes like, why are they doing this? Runners-up shouldn't be doing this. No one would say this word if it wasn't for Caitlin Clark. You just know that.
Think about it. The WNBA is on the rise. Caitlin Clark is headed to Indiana, and the Fever are getting more attention than ever. Then, here comes Brianna Turner, looking like she's ready to throw shade at the very fans who are supposed to have her back. It's like she missed the first rule of joining a new team. Don't insult the local hero.
That is the one thing where I'm like, that's the one direct thing with Caitlin Clark. But she has essentially like not shown to be necessarily fully anti-Caitlin Clark, but she was definitely in the group of players that you will say you could brand as saying anti-Caitlin Clark stuff.
All right, so Turner's in deep water. What's her next move? Apologize? Try to make peace with the fans? Nope, not even close. She comes out swinging with a tweet that had everyone's jaws hitting the floor. Let me hit you with it. I will not bend the knee or change my online advocacy efforts to appease others while I anticipate receiving criticism, hostility, and invalidation. Can you believe she actually said that?
Instead of her coming in wanting a winning mentality, now Joanna Bonner had said some things online too, but what Brianna Turner just did is just completely disrespected the fan base as a whole.
You might be thinking, all right, maybe she's just standing firm on her beliefs. But here's the catch. Turner isn't just addressing social issues. She's flat out brushing off the concerns of her new fan base. And let me tell you, Fever fans are not having it. They're already demanding she be cut before she even gets a chance to step on the court.
Now, Brianna Turner is a different type of individual. Granted, she has defensive possibilities, and she's a great addition to have on a bench. But outside of that, she comes with a lot of baggage. Now, that baggage is now causing major concerns online, and people is demanding she be removed from this basketball team.
But hold up, it gets even wilder. Turner's not backing down. She's doubling down, saying she won't change for anyone. It's like she's tossing gasoline on a fire that's already raging. You've got to wonder, does she even care about winning over the fans? Or is she more focused on stirring up drama?
You didn't have no way to like mediate anything to where like, okay, guys, I know y'all feel this way about me. Let's meet somewhere in the middle. How can we move forward this? How can we move forward and past this? Want to know what Joanna Bonner said? You can unfollow me. I'm not changing the way I feel.
Now, this isn't just about Turner. It's a full-blown crisis for the Indiana Fever. Can you imagine what's going through the front office's minds right now? They're probably in full panic mode, scrambling to figure out how to handle this disaster. Do they stand by their new player and risk pushing the fans even further away? Or do they distance themselves from Turner and risk creating tension within the team?
Now, is that something you want to say when you're newly to a team and you know the fan base seriously do not like you? Is to unfollow me? I'm not changing the way I feel. That right there showed me you don't care about the fan.
But here's where things get really interesting. Turner's attitude might be a bigger issue than anyone realized. This isn't just about one tweet or one player. It's about the whole team dynamic and how athletes have to navigate the tricky world of social media and public perception.
Now, these are the people that has to buy your tickets, watch the games, and pretty much cut your check. Now, I don't know how things was with you in Chicago. Maybe y'all was like manipulated, brainwashed, but y'all speaking out and saying things outside of basketball and sparking these race wars is the reason y'all in this position.
Think about it. In today's sports world, players aren't just athletes. They're brands, influencers, role models. And when they join a new team, they're not just swapping jerseys, they're stepping into an entire new community. But Turner? It's like she completely forgot that part of the playbook.
Brianna Turner stated, "Unfollow me." That was her exact words, bro. Simply telling the fans to unfollow her. How selfish was that?
You might be wondering, is Turner the only athlete who's ever faced backlash for speaking out? Not even close. But here's the difference. Most athletes know how to balance their personal beliefs with their role on the team. They engage with fans, build bridges, and find common ground.
Why come we can't fix the discrimination and get an understanding, meet in the middle? How can we talk this out? Because I'm here now. I know y'all not feeling what I'm putting out, but we need to talk this out instead of telling people to unfollow.
But Turner? She's taking a different approach. It's like she's saying, this is who I am. Take it or leave it. And while that might sound bold at first, it's a risky play in the world of professional sports, because at the end of the day, sports are about more than just the players on the court. They're about the fans in the stands, the community backing the team, and that shared passion for the game.
I know she knew, but we need to have some type of understanding. And we're not having an understanding when you're telling people to unfollow you. Granted, she can't take back what she said, but you don't come right here and slap the people in the face and say, you know what, I'm against this, that, this, and that. If you don't like it, unfollow me.
So, what happens next? Well, that's the million-dollar question. Will Turner stick to her guns and risk becoming a pariah in Indiana? Or will she realize that this fight might not be worth it? Will the Fever step in and try to smooth things over? Maybe make some public gestures to win back the fans? Or will they cut their losses and move on from the drama? And what about the team's chemistry? With all this tension hanging over them, how will it affect the players as they head into what was supposed to be an exciting season? What was meant to be a fresh start could end up being a messy, divisive chapter, one that could have lasting consequences on the court and off. The stakes have never been higher, and it's anyone's guess how it'll all play out.
Or as alive, but there has been a confirmation. There has been, well, as good as a confirmation from the draft. And it's unfortunate they leaked the expansion draft, or at least leaked part of the expansion draft.
As the new franchise made its much-anticipated entrance, speculation soared about how the Valkyries would build their inaugural roster. Naturally, Caitlin Clark became a focal point in these discussions, celebrated for her exceptional scoring prowess, long-range three-point shooting, and strong leadership on the court. Caitlin has emerged as one of the brightest stars in women's basketball today. The potential addition of her talents to the Valkyries has generated tremendous buzz and anticipation among enthusiasts and analysts alike.
Right, there we go. We have our first 4 names of the reveal, and there they are. And just in case you didn't pick up on it, these names are being announced in alphabetical order from the teams of the W. So there's no ranking here in terms of who's most important. Your first thought?
In case you missed it, these selections are being announced in alphabetical order based on the teams, so there's no ranking in terms of importance. At first glance, you might assume Caitlin Clark would be among them, but when the draft results were revealed, an unexpected twist occurred. The Valkyries chose not to draft Caitlin Clark. This surprising decision left both fans and analysts stunned, igniting debates across social media platforms and sports broadcasts. The Golden State Valkyries' participation in the expansion draft marked a pivotal moment for the WNBA. It's a rare opportunity for a new team to build its roster from the ground up, and anticipation was high as fans watched to see their selections. While many anticipated bold moves, the decision to bypass Caitlin Clark, widely regarded as one of the league's brightest stars, created a wave of controversy and confusion within the basketball community.
As for the names on the back of the jerseys, we do have 4 more names that are about to be revealed in just a moment, but we do want to do a little table set of the Valkyries' notable games during what will be their inaugural season. They'll open the season in the Chase Center against the Sparks in a battle for Cali, some other marquee matchups as well. Defending champ Liberty May 27th, and they've got the Aces and Fever.
Her standout performance at Iowa made her a household name, and her seamless transition to the WNBA only heightened her impact. As a high-volume scorer and talented playmaker, she possesses the unique ability to draw crowds and secure victories. So, why did the Valkyries pass on drafting her when they had the opportunity? The reason stems from a combination of strategic planning, roster-building priorities, and the complexities of managing star talent within a newly established team. She is more than just a prolific scorer. She is a transformative player. Her knack for sinking three-pointers from seemingly unreachable distances and her exceptional court vision make her an invaluable asset. Additionally, she exemplifies leadership both on and off the court, frequently taking control during pivotal moments of the game. Any team would be fortunate to acquire her talents, or so it appears. However, constructing a new franchise goes beyond assembling star players. It involves ensuring the right fit, fostering chemistry, and implementing long-term strategies. This vision necessitated selecting players who could offer versatility and balance to their roster. Opting to draft a superstar like Caitlin Clark might have seemed like a straightforward way to make headlines, but it could have interfered with the delicate task of forming a unified and cohesive team structure. A prime example of the Valkyries' strategic selection is Temi Fagbenle. As an experienced center, Fagbenle brings defensive strength and leadership qualities that are crucial for any team seeking to establish its identity. However, her selection sparked surprise because it meant that Caitlin Clark remained with the Indiana Fever. Speculation among fans suggested that Fagbenle's departure from the Fever was closely linked to Clark's increasing influence within the team. Her on-court presence attracts media coverage, drives merchandise sales, and energizes fan communities. For the Indiana Fever, she serves as a cornerstone in their rebuilding efforts. Conversely, for the Valkyries, acquiring a player of her caliber might have introduced significant challenges. Effectively managing a star athlete requires substantial resources, both financially and in terms of team dynamics. Clark's playing style necessitates that the team's offense is centered around her. She thrives as a high-usage player who relies on having the ball in her hands. While this strategy can be effective for established teams with well-defined systems, it poses risks for a new franchise striving to find its balance. The Valkyries likely aim to prevent their entire identity from hinging on a single player, regardless of her talent. Instead, their focus was probably on assembling a more balanced roster, capable of evolving into a cohesive unit that can compete comprehensively without depending excessively on any one individual.
From the Atlanta Dream, the Golden State Valkyries select center Ileana Rupert.
Another layer to this decision is the Valkyries' emphasis on defense and versatility. Players like Fagbenle, Alana R., and Monique Billings offer flexibility across multiple positions, enabling the team to adjust to various matchups. While drafting Clark might have been tempting, it could have constrained their ability to build a well-rounded roster. Under the expansion draft rules, teams had the option to protect certain players. Unsurprisingly, the Fever chose to safeguard Caitlin Clark, effectively removing her from the Valkyries' selection pool. This move came at a price, leaving players like Fagbenle unprotected. For the Fever, this was a strategic gamble. They prioritized securing their star player, understanding that losing other valuable role players might be an unavoidable consequence. Protecting Clark underscores her significance to the Fever's future. She's not merely a player, but the cornerstone of their franchise. Losing her would have severely hampered their rebuilding efforts. Nevertheless, some fans believe that leaving Vag Bentley unprotected was a misstep, as she is a dependable contributor who brings both experience and grit to the team. By passing on high-profile players like Caitlin Clark, they signaled their commitment to constructing a team based on depth, teamwork, and strategic foresight. This method may not create immediate headlines, but it lays the groundwork for long-term success. Naturally, not everyone concurs with this strategy. Critics argue that the Valkyries forfeited an opportunity to secure a generational talent. Caitlin Clark's ability to attract fans and elevate her teammates makes her a rare asset in the WNBA. Opting out of drafting her could be viewed as a risky move, especially for a new team aiming to establish itself in a competitive environment. However, there's a valid argument supporting the Valkyries' choice. Building a successful franchise requires time and meticulous planning. While star players like Caitlin Clark can transform a team, they also introduce complexities both on and off the court. For the Valkyries, the expansion draft was about more than just acquiring talent. It was about establishing a foundation for a team capable of competing at the highest levels. As the Valkyries gear up for their inaugural season, all eyes will be on their roster decisions. Will their strategic approach yield positive results, or will they rue the decision to pass on players like Caitlin Clark? The outcome may not be immediate, but one thing is clear: this decision will be closely examined. Understanding the Valkyries' choice to forgo Caitlin Clark requires looking at the broader context. How will this impact the future of the Valkyries and Caitlin Clark's role with the Indiana Fever? Launching a new franchise carries the inherent pressure to make a significant impact quickly. Acquiring a player like Caitlin Clark would undoubtedly generate headlines and draw fans to the arena. However, a franchise's success isn't solely determined by hype. It's about winning games and cultivating a sustainable culture. The Valkyries appear to have prioritized balance over star power. A key aspect of this decision revolves around Caitlin Clark's compatibility with a new system. Clark is renowned for her dynamic, high-energy playing style. She's a high-usage player who excels in systems designed to highlight her individual talents. However, for a nascent team like the Valkyries, selecting a player of Clark's magnitude could result in a lopsided roster. The team might feel compelled to build entirely around her, potentially compromising depth and versatility. Historically, teams that secure elite talent early on often set themselves up for sustained success. Clark's ability to draw double teams, stretch defenses, and control the game's tempo makes her a generational talent. By passing on her, the Valkyries are essentially betting on their ability to discover comparable talent in the future, a gamble that may or may not pay off.
Honestly, I grew up playing literally everything, and I was super competitive, so my parents kind of just tossed me out there and wanted me to get my energy out, whether it was soccer, softball, golf, track. I really did it all, and then when I got into high school, I kind of knew basketball was my future, and I loved it, and I wanted to practice it, and I think that's what was different. I wanted to get better at it. I wanted to spend time working on my game, and that was probably what set that apart from all the other sports I played. They were just kind of for fun with my friends. I was really competitive about it, but I didn't take extra time out of my day to go and work on my game and want to be better and be better than everybody else. So I think that's what kind of helped me figure out the path I wanted to take. And then I remember in high school, I played soccer and I was on varsity and I loved it, but my teammates would get mad because I would go and practice and work out and do basketball after school right before we had our soccer games, and they couldn't believe that I was doing that. So I eventually had to give up soccer, even though I loved it, but I think it was just...
Caitlin Clark has always been a force to be reckoned with, but what we're seeing now is something else entirely. the WNBA has officially been put on notice. Clark isn't just leveling up her game, she's evolving into an unstoppable powerhouse.
Number 22,
I think this is a good excuse to miss school. Absolutely, to see your sister do that. Minnesota keep posting up, but you know who they go to. 22! Abby Marshall, here comes Clark. How will she go for history?
The newest footage shows a Clark who's not just stronger, but downright dominant, and defenders have every reason to be seriously concerned. If you thought Clark was a threat before, get ready. It's about to get wild.
She has a game in that opportunity. Clark for three, rattles for her first deep shot.
She's no longer just the sharpshooter we've all come to admire. She's been hitting the gym, packing on serious muscle, and gearing up to take the league by storm in ways we've never imagined. This is the kind of transformation that turns stars into legends, and we're here to break it all down. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for all the latest WNBA updates and in-depth takes on the biggest stories rocking the league.
Bumps had a good night here tonight. Points, she and Jackie Young leading the way at Clark. Boston screen, fire away.
Remember last season? Caitlin Clark was already a generational scorer, torching defenses with her endless range and fearless shot making. But there was one major flaw: physicality.
Effect! Thank you very much. That's what 6'5" would do for you. I don't have that luxury. Nice give and go. Clark right at the cup. Rebound, back Vinley.
Futility from three for the Sparks. 0 for 9 and
stuck in the air there. Finlay comes up with it. Here's Clark in transition where she's dangerous. Leaves it behind for.
Here's just 1 of 5.
How about Finlay running the floor? They go threes.
Yeah, they do. Nice concept, but
it won't go.
Defenders didn't hesitate to take advantage of her lean frame, bumping her off her spots, crowding her, and putting her in tough, uncomfortable positions.
Women's basketball has found its fame, and the reason for that is a 22-year-old playing in just her first WNBA season. Indiana Fever's point guard, Caitlin Clark, has already become the face of women's basketball, despite this being her debut year. To cap it off, Clark has won Rookie of the Year award, and she did that in some style, a unanimous choice of 66 of the 67 votes going in her favor. But it isn't just skill and accolades that make her the most popular face here on the basketball court. Clark's off-field antics.
Skeptics were loud. Could she handle the brutal physicality of the league? Was she just another college phenom who would falter against bigger, stronger, and faster opponents? Fast forward to now, and Clark has completely turned that narrative upside down. She didn't just accept the challenge, she went straight at it.
Which makes it some really good offensive
Clark seeing direction, feeds Boston. Indiana has the advantage. And Boston trying to beat all their opponents for the first time since 2010. Clark shot fakes the three, feeds inside to Boston for two.
This offseason wasn't just about fine-tuning her already deadly jumper or sharpening her handles. It was about building a physique strong enough to stand toe-to-toe with the most physical defenders in the league. She made strength just as much of a priority as skill, and the results? Absolutely game-changing. Clark dove into an elite strength and conditioning program designed to pack on muscle without sacrificing the agility and explosiveness that make her a nightmare on the court. Trainers built a plan centered around core stability, lower body strength, and endurance, making sure she could take the hits and still finish strong. She fully embraced weightlifting, resistance training, and explosive movement drills, transforming herself into a more durable, battle-ready version of Clark.
Third quarter. Behind the back, Clark. A wide open shot. And wide open is Caitlin Clark, but she can't knock it down from up top. Tries it again from a different spot. That will connect.
The transformation is undeniable. She's stronger, more balanced, and now able to initiate contact instead of just taking it.
You know, looking at all these things that people are talking about with Caitlin Clark, it's like, guys, chill out. Like, she's gonna be fine. Like, it's 2 games in, are you kidding me? She's a student of the game, she got better every year. You're not going to just absorb all of the new information that's coming at you in 2 games, in 2 weeks. It takes time. And she will, I have no doubt about it. She's a student of the game, she continues to get better. And these are also points that coaches then address. Hey, let's continue to work on this, but it's really hard to work on some of those things in season. So this might be an off-season thing, right? Let's continue to play to our strengths, let's find different ways to get the ball to our players, and then when we get time in the off-season, then we'll work on that next step or that next level.
The days of defenders pushing Clark around are a thing of the past. Now, she's the one setting the tone. And it's not just the fans and analysts who've noticed. Her coach, Stephanie White, has confirmed it too.
A new sight on the court here at Carver Hawkeye Arena. That decal right at the spot where Caitlin hit that follow-away 3. The logo 3 to take the NCAA scoring record.
In a recent statement, White made it clear. Clark didn't just fine-tune her physique, she completely rebuilt it. This isn't a small tweak, it's a full-on evolution, and it's already having a massive impact on her game.
Play. It's up, it won't go down, and this building knows.
See Mitchell's going, what happened? Well, for Caitlin, what a reaction by Kelsey.
Her arms are more defined, a clear testament to the hours of weight training she's put in. Her core is rock solid, keeping her balanced even when taking heavy hits. Her legs are built for explosive power, giving her that extra burst when driving to the rim and extending her shooting range beyond what was already elite. Clark has transformed herself into a physical powerhouse, and the results? Undeniable. The added strength is showing up everywhere in her game. She's attacking the basket with more power, finishing through contact instead of getting knocked off course. Defenders who once pushed her out of position are now the ones getting bounced back.
I guess he determined that Ariel Atkins had possession.
Clark, the switch on to Dolson, steps back.
Steph Dolson's in drop, and the screen is so...
14 from the field, but they've got a 5-point mark. Circling around, sets up Samuelson, who's wide open at three.
Her three-point range has stretched even farther, thanks to the added power in her legs. But maybe the biggest change? Her defense. Clark can now stand her ground against bigger, stronger opponents, turning her into an even more dangerous two-way force.
Whenever I decide to go to the WNBA, I hope it's that same thing. I hope I can continue to grow the game. I hope we're playing in front of sold-out crowds. I hope more teams are added to the league. There's so many tremendous players that don't even get the opportunity to play in the league, so.
The implications for the league are massive. A stronger Caitlin Clark isn't just a more lethal scorer. She's now a matchup nightmare for every team she faces. Physicality was the one weapon defenders had to try and slow her down. But with her transformation, that tool is completely off the table. Clark's added strength makes her even more dangerous. And now, opponents have to rethink everything. If she was already nearly unstoppable before, what does that make her now? Teams across the WNBA better start reworking their game plans, because the old strategies to contain her just became completely irrelevant. Every defender in the league will need to adjust, or they'll be left scrambling.
You come in as a rookie and like you said, like you're trying to figure out a new environment, new teammates. Like you don't want to say too much, you don't want to say too little, and it's just so hard.
What if I told you that Caitlin Clark's greatest challenge wasn't on the court, but within the locker room? That her most significant achievement wasn't smashing records, but building connections? How do you excel without outshining your teammates? How do you blend in while still standing out?
It's crazy, like looking back at a year ago today or around this time, like I was just beginning my senior year of college. And obviously, you know, people knew who we were and people attended our games, but it's obviously not on the magnitude that it is now.
Yeah.
So like life just changes fast, but that's what makes it fun and cool. And, you know, quickly started a new chapter of my life too, like moving here to Indianapolis. And
in an insightful podcast interview, Clark opened up about her rookie year and how she navigated those challenges. Her comments about her teammates will make you reconsider everything you thought you knew about the Indiana Fever. What are her true feelings toward the team around her? From sophomore Aaliyah Boston to Fever's close friend Lexi Hull and others such as Kelsey Mitchell and Nalissa Smith, we uncover Caitlin's unfiltered thoughts about them. Ready for the inside scoop? Let's dive in.
I mean, it was just a crazy year because you go all the way up to the national championship game and then you're playing right away.
Yeah.
You know, one of my coaches early on in my career said, you know, your rookie year is always so hard because you're in a new city, you're in a new place, you're with a new team, new coaches. There's so much that's not part of the routine that you're so used to. And you had that as like magnified.
Imagine this. Caitlin Clark, the collegiate phenom, steps onto the WNBA court for the very first time. All eyes are fixed on her, with expectations soaring high. However, Clark's greatest obstacle isn't her performance on the court, it's finding her place within the team. During an eye-opening episode of the New Heights podcast, Clark delved into her rookie anxieties. She shared,
but like in my scenario, and obviously you guys too, like you're already highly thought of. Like people are turning to you to like be something or be someone. So it's hard. Like you're trying to get your feet wet, but also not do too much. And I think that's kind of what I struggled in early on is like, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to say it. I don't know how they're going to react.
Pressure was overwhelming, and Clark felt torn between two worlds. She spoke about feeling adrift in the locker room. Should she take the lead or go along with the group? It was a mental battle intensified by her fame. Yet, amidst the turmoil, Clark discovered a positive side. The fast-paced WNBA environment kept her concentrated.
But I think it was good a little bit too. Like you don't have time to overthink things. Like it's just like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
like you're just on to the next. Right. But at the same time, like you don't like, I feel like I never really ended the chapter of college. Like it was just like you up and left, but maybe that's good. You don't have a lot of time to think about it. So I think that's definitely the weirdest part of, you know, women's professional basketball and obviously college basketball too. It's just that change, but that's kind of how it has to be too. So it's just different.
Her teammates became her rock during this wild transition. While some teammates caused problems in the beginning, eventually everyone came together to thrive in the WNBA.
For not knowing, you nailed it. Well.
But also, like, I had a lot of really good vets around me too, so I feel very grateful for that. And we had a fairly young team too, so like people had been through it fairly recently, so they knew how I felt. But like, I feel like that definitely is a huge challenge, and that goes for whatever professional sport. Like, you're trying to learn, but also people are looking at you like, you got to perform and like be what they drafted you to be, and that can be tough.
In a heartfelt moment, Clark confessed, "I feel like I never truly closed the chapter of college. It was just like you left. But maybe that's for the best. There isn't much time to dwell on it." This highlighted just how abrupt and challenging the transition to the pros can be, even for a star like Clark.
You mentioned the vets, and I think, you know, for me at least, there was a lot. Some vets were incredible. Some of the vets, obviously, you're competing for jobs, so there's a little bit there, but you lean so much as a young player on your vets, and you lean so much from like, even just like in Philly, there's so many great players that played for the Eagles that, like Harold Carmichael, who was a legendary Philadelphia Eagle, was like always around and willing to lend advice or anything. Did you have many former players or current players like reach out to you that really helped you in transitioning into the WNBA?
As Caitlin Clark continues to navigate the high-pressure world of the WNBA, her journey stands as a powerful example of resilience and growth. From overcoming locker room challenges to embracing the fast-paced professional lifestyle, Clark is not only proving her prowess on the court, but also her ability to build meaningful connections with her teammates. Her honest reflections highlight the complexities of transitioning from college stardom to the pros, reminding us that even the brightest stars face their own set of challenges. What do you think the future holds for Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever?
She'll be the biggest female star ever because she can pull up from the parking lot.
She is a killer. She is stone cold.
Caitlin, man, she's a phenomenon. She's the best female collegiate player ever.
Caitlin Clark is capable of magical things.
Caitlin Clark is continuously setting new benchmarks as a trailblazer in women's basketball by revealing a surprising element in her Fever contract. Celebrated for her exceptional talent and leadership on the court, she's now making significant impacts off the court as well. The basketball community is abuzz after an unexpected detail of her Fever contract surfaced, and honestly, it's a game changer, not only for Caitlin, but also for the future of how athletes manage their careers.
Knowing that before Caitlin was Brianna and Diana and Sue and Rebecca and all of those, Dawn Staley as a player, where does it go? Can it continue to climb, and will it climb on the back of now Paige Bueckers?
For anyone questioning the Caitlin Clark effect, we now have people wanting to watch golf because of her. We saw the kind of offer that Ice Cube made to Caitlin to play in the Big Three. That is $5 million to play 3 months.
Caitlin Clark continues to set new standards in women's basketball by unveiling a groundbreaking detail in her Fever contract. Renowned for her unparalleled talent and leadership on the court, she's now making significant strides off the court as well. The basketball community is abuzz after revealing an unexpected aspect of her Fever contract, and it's a game changer, not just for Caitlin, but for the future of athletes' career management. The Iowa standout has always been ahead of her time, proving she's not just playing basketball, she's elevating the sport itself. What exactly did she disclose, and why is everyone talking about it? Caitlin Clark secured a $28 million deal with the Indiana Fever, setting a standard for how athletes can leverage their influence. According to insiders and Caitlin herself, her contract includes enhanced travel accommodations, personalized support staff, and resources dedicated to her holistic development as a player and leader. At just 22, she's the only professional women's basketball player on the Forbes 30 Under 30 list. Unlike standard team travel arrangements, Caitlin's contract allows her to optimize her schedule and performance, ensuring she can shine without unnecessary distractions. In her first year, she will earn $76,535, along with access to nutritionists, trainers, and mental performance coaches. This reflects the Fever's commitment to player well-being and long-term career sustainability. Reactions have been overwhelmingly positive, with teammates showing genuine support. One player even joked, "If Caitlin's getting all these perks, we'd better start winning more games to keep up." From management's perspective, the Fever's general manager described the contract as a bold step toward redefining excellence in women's basketball. Investing in Caitlin's development is also investing in the future of the league. Fans have praised the move on social media, celebrating Caitlin's role in pushing boundaries and inspiring others. Young athletes everywhere are watching Caitlin's journey and learning that it's okay to demand more. She's not just breaking records, but also breaking barriers, embodying empowerment and leadership. Caitlin handles the spotlight with grace, crediting her teammates and the Fever for believing in her vision. This collective triumph highlights the power of teamwork and innovation. Looking ahead, Caitlin Clark is more than an athlete. She's a trailblazer and a symbol of what's possible when talent meets determination. Her contract with the Fever is a statement of intent, declaring that the future of women's basketball is bright and boundless. By securing provisions that emphasize personal development and well-being, Caitlin is demonstrating that excellence on the court should be matched off the court. The Fever's decision to support her vision marks a cultural shift in women's sports, historically undervalued and under-resourced. Caitlin's contract signals to other franchises and sponsors that investing in female athletes is both ethical and profitable. This move is reminiscent of the legendary Bird Magic rivalry, sparking excitement and essential competition. The domino effect is already taking shape, with other WNBA players exploring similar contract clauses. Younger players are dreaming bigger, inspired by Caitlin's bold move. She advocates not just for her growth, but for the growth of women's basketball as a whole, creating a path for the next generation to thrive. Caitlin Clark has concluded one of the most remarkable years in basketball, backing up her words with actions. She plans to mentor young players and engage in community outreach, creating a transformative ripple effect. Despite critics questioning team equality, Caitlin's approach benefits everyone by enhancing team performance and league recognition. Caitlin's journey is far from over, and this contract is just one chapter in her incredible story. Whether you're a fan or inspired by her drive, there's no denying she's making a lasting impact. Here's to Caitlin Clark, a star on the court, a leader off it, and a true pioneer in every sense of the word.
First person I can honestly say that looks like Steph Curry. Like, she's not guardable right now, and she can hit almost any shot from the outside.
Almost any.
How much of a power she is out there on the court. The cool part is the way that she plays and her range and the level of difficulty on her shots is obviously a very close comparison to.
From long-range shots to lasting influence, Caitlin Clark isn't just setting records, she's shattering them. Surpassing even Steph Curry's iconic three-point average, she's reshaping the future of basketball. But what happens when Caitlin Clark crosses paths with Steph Curry's legacy?
Do you think Caitlin Clark could beat Steph Curry in a three-point contest?
That's tough. Shooters can have an off night. You just never know. Caitlin has no conscience where she pulls from.
Steph has no conscience where he pulls from.
Been doing it for a long time, so can never go against Steph. Steph has been doing it for a long time.
Recently, Caitlin Clark has solidified her place in basketball history, and it's not just because of her scoring ability, it's where she scores from. New stats show that Caitlin Clark now holds the record for the longest average three-point range, an incredible 28 feet.
I think the WNBA narrative right now is Caitlin Clark, and I think that's a good narrative, but it's also not the only narrative. Caitlin is an amazing generational talent, and she's going to do amazing things. You're the #1 pick. People are going to go after.
This remarkable accomplishment not only surpasses the previous record held by NBA legend Steph Curry, but it also sets a new, higher standard for shooting excellence in basketball. By pushing the boundaries of what was once thought possible, Caitlin Clark has redefined the range at which players can score, inspiring future generations to aim even further.
Do I need to call you the female version of Steph Curry, or do I need to call Steph Curry the male version of Caitlin Clark?
I think I'll just be the female version of Steph.
At just 22 years old, Clark's achievement is far more than a statistical outlier. It's a reflection of her unmatched skill, court awareness, and unshakable confidence. As the all-time leading scorer in college basketball, regardless of gender, she has already left an indelible mark on the game. With her new record-breaking 28-foot average, Caitlin Clark has not just added a new statistic to her resume, she's fundamentally redefined what it means to be a sharpshooter in the modern era. To put her accomplishment into perspective, Steph Curry, widely considered the greatest shooter in basketball history, boasts a three-point range averaging around 27 feet. At the time, that seemed untouchable. Curry's range revolutionized the game, sparking an era of deep shooting and permanently changing the way basketball is played. But now, Caitlin Clark has pushed that boundary even further, raising the bar to new heights.
I love me some Steph Curry. Steph Curry is the greatest shooter in the history of basketball.
However, Clark has taken that revolution even further, stretching the boundaries of possibility with an additional foot of range that makes her a constant threat the moment she crosses half court. This is no accident. Clark's shooting range is the result of years of dedicated training, an innate basketball IQ, and an unwavering competitive spirit. Her shooting form is a perfect balance of precision and power, enabling her to effortlessly launch shots from well beyond the arc. But what truly sets her apart is her fearlessness. Clark isn't afraid to take shots from distances most players wouldn't even think about. Whether it's a contested three in the final seconds of a game or a casual pull-up from 30 feet on the fast break, she makes what seems impossible look completely effortless.
Shout out to Caitlin Clark. She's a certified bucket. To quote Shaq, I was not familiar with her game. I respect her game. She's a fucking baller. She was pulling up like Steph Curry from deep. But I just got one question. Matt, do you think you can beat Caitlin Clark in one-on-one?
Absolutely not. Nobody here can.
I'm busting her ass. You wild. Shit. You wild, bro.
This record also speaks volumes about the evolution of women's basketball. Clark's success stands as a powerful testament to how the game has progressed, with athletes consistently pushing the limits of what's possible on the court. Her remarkable shooting range has drawn comparisons to Curry, but it has also established her as a trailblazer in her own right, showing that women's basketball is just as dynamic, innovative, and game-changing as the men's game.
I think Steph Curry made the WNBA watchable.
Caitlin Clark, baby.
The way that Caitlin Clark was playing was a very digestible form of basketball. But now this girl out of nowhere is playing like Steph, and it was still digestible.
Meanwhile, Clark has reached this milestone in an era where defenders are more focused than ever on limiting long-range threats. Opponents specifically game plan to neutralize her, yet she continues to excel, constantly finding ways to create space and sink one clutch shot after another from deep. Her 28-foot average isn't just a number, it's a declaration of dominance. As Caitlin Clark keeps breaking records and exceeding expectations, the basketball world is left to wonder just how much further she can push the boundaries of shooting.
Is there anybody in the NBA under the age of 30 that's a bigger name, bigger jaw, bigger star than Caitlin Clark?
For now, one thing is clear. Clark has not only surpassed Steph Curry's legendary mark, but has firmly established herself as one of the most transformative figures in basketball. Her 28-foot average three-point range is more than just a record. It's the foundation of a legacy in the making. Caitlin Clark isn't just redefining the game of basketball, she's reshaping its entire business model. The sharpshooting sensation, already celebrated for her historic three-point average that outpaces even Curry, is demonstrating that her influence extends far beyond the court.
I mean, honestly, $1,000 for a family of 4 to go to a WNBA game. That seems wild. It really does. The Clark effect.
Clark now represents an incredible 1/4 of all WNBA merchandise and ticket sales. This remarkable achievement highlights her power to attract fans, drive revenue, and become a true game changer for women's sports. Moreover, in a league that has long battled for visibility and equality, Clark has sparked an unprecedented wave of fan engagement. From jerseys bearing her name to arenas packed with fans chanting in her honor, Clark is more than just a player. She's become a movement.
Caitlin Clark, her style of play it's not just her individually as a person or what skin color she is. I think it's, more so about her style of play, her playing.
According to reports, her merchandise sales alone make up nearly 25% of the WNBA's total revenue in this category, an extraordinary figure that speaks to her unmatched popularity. Whether it's fans buying her iconic number 22 jersey or scooping up exclusive Caitlin Clark-themed collectibles, her appeal is undeniable. The same goes for ticket sales. Clark's games are an event, consistently attracting record-breaking crowds.